So, can you hear me now? All right. Welcome again. Thank you for watching. Those of you watching online, thank you for being here. And let's just get right into this. My name's Orlando, and I am a proud member of the Choose to Change Mentoring Program. The Choose to Change Mentoring Program is a self-supporting Christian-based group. So we talk about God. We talk about Jesus. We talk about what God can do in your life. And it's sponsored by the Choose to Change Foundation. There is no fee to attend this class, but we do encourage donations from our members and everyone who believes in what we are doing. The only requirement for membership in this program is a sincere desire to change your life. We are on a mission to restore families by inspiring, challenging, and equipping men to become better fathers, husbands, and leaders in our community. And you know what? I think I ought to add just better men, right? We just need to be better men. And we talk about that in these rooms. So if you're ready to change your life, then you are in the right place. Through this program, you will learn exactly where to start your life change journey, tools and resources to keep you going, and a support system, a relationship support system to help you reach your goals. The Choose to Change Mentoring Program believes in 3 key principles of life. Number 1, we believe in the life-changing power of God through faith in Jesus Christ. Number 2, we believe that God has already done his part and that it is our responsibility to learn to do ours. And number 3, success or failure. Success or failure. Either one. Are successful or you are failing is a choice. And the choice is yours. So if you're ready, say, I'm ready. I'm ready. Well, welcome again. My name's Orlando. I actually am the founder of this organization called Choose to Change Foundation. I started it with the idea of helping a few men become better men to help us restore some families in our community, because we desperately need men in our society today. Just want to introduce my assistant here. I was hoping to sit down today and just discuss some things. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I thought I was going to try it out, see how it works. Let's try it out. Probably going to wind up getting up, but I want to try out my new pulpit. Let me see how this works. That way, we're talking, man. I want to talk today. I want to communicate. I want a discussion. And what is the topics today? The topic today is going to be what has been your biggest challenge, or is your biggest challenge in your life change journey, right? Because we all have challenges. That we discuss that always in these rooms. But I want you to share with me what has been or is your biggest challenges that you're facing right now in your life. Because we all are facing challenges, I know that. But some are bigger than others. Some are just responsibilities we have to take care of. Some of us are forced to do some things, right? Other of us are just in a situation where our life is just a mess. Whatever it be. But I wanted to just talk tonight about our challenges and what we're going through, because we all have to deal with them. There's a article I use a lot when I do a sermon called Voices. And what's happening in our society, by the way, let me start with this. I don't know if you all realize this. I mean, I say this all the time, but we live in crazy times in our lives today. There's a lot of bad stuff happening in our society. A lot of bad stuff. I mean, talking about wicked, twisted stuff in our government, in our schools, in our families. I mean, just bad stuff that is happening in our society today. And and most people don't know what to do. They're confused, they're lost, they're depressed. So one of my goals is to help men, especially, start thinking and start learning and start figuring things out, because there's answers for our problems. There are answers. The question is, do you want them? Many times the answers we find, we don't like, right? We just don't like them. The answers that we need to, or the things that we need to implement in our lives, the changes we need to make. Last week, who remembers what you all talked about last week? Jesse, you even did the man in the mirror, right? He talked about, what is your biggest challenge? Or what do you think is your biggest, what did he say? Problem? Or that he had the answer in this box, he said. He has an answer in this box to all your problems. And he passed it around to everybody to open the box, and there was a mirror in the box. And this is what we teach in these rooms. You are the key to your better future. Period. You are the key to your better future. Nobody's going to do it for you. We talk about this all the time, right? And I'm telling you, there's some wicked stuff happening in our society today. I believe that we need God. I mean, I'm convinced of that. I mean, that's just how it is. Half of this world doesn't believe that. And we live in a godless society that don't believe they need God. And if that's how you want to live, well, more power to you. But I'm telling you, we need God. Especially for many of us in here. Why is that important? Because faith is important. Not only to overcome the challenges you're facing, but to reach goals that you're hoping for, like getting your daughter, getting a better job. You need a little bit of faith to do that, and faith is supposed to produce some actions. But I have a reading here that I use a lot when I do a sermon or a teaching called Voices, because and I'm going to open up the room for discussion here in a minute, but I want to know some of your biggest challenges. And I'm going to give you one of them that maybe you won't even think about, because I'm just going to give it to you. And one of your biggest challenges that all of us are facing, all of us, are this negative voice in our head, these voices in our head. And I teach a lot on this. This is not only true, but it's also biblical, and the world knows this. They're trying to figure out why they have so many voices. I heard a advertising for this personal development leader guru talking about to an audience, and how the audience were struggling with their mental health and their disorders of, what's that, when you want everything in order? Yeah, about that, OCD, and not being able to focus and having their mind going. And then he turned to the audience and he said, he was talking to a guy, right? So do you have a problem? And he was saying, well, yeah, I have ODC and this and that. And he said, okay, look, watch this. And he turned to the audience, how many here struggle with lack of focus and OCD and all this? And almost all the room raised their hand. Because the reality of our life is that we're all struggling with our mind, our mindset. And I went through a whole series on mindset in the last few weeks. So one of your biggest challenges is going to be that mind, that those thoughts and that voices in your head. So let me read you something. I read this a lot, and I'm going to go through it a little bit more here, because I've never read it all. But this is an article by a man named Jim Rome, and he says this: how to stop listening to the negative voices in your head. And by the way, this is a business article. It has nothing to do with spiritual. It's a business article. But he's talking about if you want to be successful, if you're going to overcome these obstacles that you're facing in life, you're going to have to stop listening to the negative voices in your head, which we develop when we're young. Whatever we put in our mind, or what we don't put in our minds. But let me read this real quick. He said, we're also frequently inclined to do the things, or let me rephrase that. Why are we so inclined to do the things that are least important, but so reluctant to do the necessary things or the essential things that success and happiness require or demand? This is what it says. In other words, there's some things that you have to do whether you like it or not. If you want success, if you want to overcome. He says, what is that voice that whispers in our ear? And it says, just let it all slide. Why worry about all that discipline nonsense? Who likes to be disciplined here? I don't like it. I don't. But if I want to continue being successful and growing in my life and my family, I have to discipline my life in all areas of my life. He says, it is the voice of negativity, a voice that has grown increasingly stronger over the years as a result of being around the wrong people, friends, family, right? Thinking the wrong thoughts, developing wrong mindsets, and making wrong decisions. So then, everything we're involved in, everything you listen to, everything you read, everything you watch, and especially everything you listen to nowadays with everybody with their little headphones, right? And their ear things, and no telling nowadays you don't know what they're listening to. So you have no idea what's going into their heart and mind. And that stuff is either elevating them or lifting them up or putting them down. Music, for instance, right? Who knows there's some wicked, twisted, perverted music? They call music and they give them platinum and a lot of these rappers, right? They get them wicked stuff. Anyway, though the voices in your head are part of your biggest obstacles. Who would agree to that? I mean, I would. So then you have to learn to overcome those voices. And again, this is where we need God. This is why I have faith up there. Part of the process that it takes to change your life, to make your life better, which is what I teach in here, by the way. Those of you that are new, I teach people a process of change. It's not an exact science, but it is definitely a process that works. And no matter where you look in life, the process is almost the same. So you have to learn the process of change. Part of it is faith. So, with that in mind, before I read more, let me give you an opportunity to share. Where's the mic? What has been one of your biggest problems? It could be drugs. It could be relationships. It could be, I don't know, whatever it is that maybe, what has been some of your biggest problems that you've are having or have had trouble overcoming? Or maybe you're still working on it. Maybe it's a lack of education. Maybe it's a lack of, I don't know, maybe you have ODC. What is it again? OCD. Maybe you have a disorder. Maybe you have something that stops you, that hinders you all the time, that you flip, that you know. Um, Anybody want to share at all? Go ahead, Frank.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, you touched on it, and for me, it's usually self doubt. Even if
Self doubt. There you go.
so
So
even,
it's,
even if I'm doing something good, I'm thinking, oh, is this good enough, or it could be better, or what if people don't like it, or am I doing it wrong? And it can be a constant thing, but that's something I always have to like overcome and just push forward. But it's something that it'll sneak back in.
so what did you call it? You self doubt.
Self doubt.
Okay. Fine. This is where coming to church comes in. This is where good friends come in. This is where coming here comes in. Because I've doubted myself many times. I, I mean, there's because sometimes we make some decisions in our family, with our kids, with our wife, with our relationship, and we doubt ourselves because um, life doesn't come with uh, a manual. Life doesn't come with a manual. Raising kids right doesn't come with a manual. We have one called the Bible. It's a very good manual, and it gives us a lot of answers. But yeah, self-doubt. Anybody else? Well, you're gonna have to keep hearing me speak. Chavarria, ¿con qué batalla, Chavarria? Oh, you're perfect. No. Anybody online that would want to answer? Want to ask a question? So let me finish reading this. This is pretty good. Maybe we ought to read this. Remember, this is about the voices in your head, and we'll talk about a solution here, which is what he reads next. He says part of the solution to quieting these voices. It's not easy. This voice of negativity, that is, the negative voices, the negative thoughts. How to quiet those? He says is learning. So there's a learning process here. To listen to the still small voice of success. In other words, there's something inside of you. We have this. See, I told you we're going to get up. There's something inside of our mind, And when is aparece? I'm trying to make a sad face and a smiley face. Half sad and half smiley. That's what I'm trying to do. And over here are the good thoughts, and over here are the bad thoughts. I know how to spell bad. Thoughts. Voices. Right? On one side of your mind and the other side of the mind. Who has this? We all do. We all do. And this is what I'm talking about. So sometimes your bad thoughts are always in conflict with your good thoughts. You're always in conflict. And this is the struggle. So then, and the problem is that this bad stuff seems to always be overwhelming sometimes. This is why people give up. This is why people just say, the hell with it. I'm out of here. It's over. I'm gone. Because you haven't developed a strong enough character. Right? And this is why coming to church is so important. This is why coming here is so important. And then the question is, do you even want to be good? Is the question, see? Like when I ask people all the time that are struggling with drug and alcohol, that are just got out of prison, I challenge men, do you want to change your life? Do you want to make your life better? You have to want it, right? But what happens for most people is that they have these two voices in their head all the time, and they're always battling. This is biblical. It's scientific. It's whatever it is that you call it. And we have to decide who to listen to. And a lot of times, this good in you is smaller. You know what to do. You know what's right and wrong. You know you shouldn't do that. You know you shouldn't do this. You know you shouldn't listen to this. You know you shouldn't take that one hit. You know you shouldn't smoke with that one joint. You know you're not supposed to look at that one video. You know you're not supposed to play with fire, pornography, which is a big one. We know we're not supposed, but yet, so that's the fight. So this is why he says we need to learning to listen to that still small voice, which resides on us all. He says the voice of success is constantly struggling to be heard about the loud promptings of those voices of failure. You know, failure doesn't come overnight. Sometimes it comes pretty quickly, right? Because one bad decision can, but that one bad decision that makes it look like everything messes up, it was an accumulation of things. Who would agree to that? Bad decisions. One bad decision after another. Let me give you an example. Say you're fit, you're in good condition, right? But you start, or you're young, right? And you're in good running condition. And you eat all kinds of stuff, you know, I eat chocolate and all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't matter what you eat. And you say, see, I can eat whatever I want. Yeah, that's not how you measure. You have to wait. Wait till you're 20. Wait till you're 30. And see what happens then. See, so failure is very deceitful. Kind of like our pastor preached at Sunday. Very, like sin, very deceitful. It's hidden. It's hidden in beauty. It's hidden in a nice little package. See, and if you don't know that, this is why you go and you just fall off the cliff. The Bible calls it being led like an ox to the slaughter, especially when it comes to lust. Because that's how life is. You have to learn to listen to good, even if it doesn't, even if you don't want to, or feel good. It's another thing I wanted to talk about, your feelings and emotions. Another obstacle you have to see, that you have to deal with. But let's continue reading. He says, the voice of success or overcoming in life is constantly struggling to be heard about the loud promptings of the voice of failure. Our own free agencies allows us to follow whichever voice we choose. Right? You choose. And this is the great mystery of life. Why do people choose bad? Why? We like it. It feels better. It's instant. It's called instant gratification. Right? And if you don't have a support system, if you don't have faith in God, if you don't have somebody supporting you and helping you, because we're all going to stumble and fall. Would you agree to that? We're all going to have struggles. We're all going to make mistakes. But the key, the idea is to get back in the road and let's go. Every time we allow ourselves to succumb to this voice of the dark side of life and are persuaded to repeat the error instead of mastering new disciplines, the voice of negativity grows stronger. Conservatively, each time we listen to the voice of negativity, each time we listen to the urgings of the voice of success, we are persuaded to turn off the TV and pick up the book. Or stop working and come to church. Or stop, making, in other words, knowing that, you know what, I think I'm better off going to choose a change. Not because you had to, but because you wanted to. To open a journal and record our thoughts, or to spend a quiet moment pondering where our current actions might be leading us. The voice of success responds to these new disciplines and grows in strength and volume as each day passes. For each new discipline, another step forward. For each new discipline, another step forward. So this kind of stuff is boring. It's boring. To me, it's not boring anymore. To me, it excites me. I love teaching this stuff. But because when you understand where I started, in prison, right? 24 years ago is where I started, and I started learning this stuff. And I started reading these books, right? That I'm like, man, this sounds so weird, right? It just sounds weird because I'm not used to education, information, structure, discipline. I'm not used to this. I was used to chaos and craziness and drug addiction and just with a I don't give a attitude. That's what I was used to. Being free, right? To do whatever I want to do. Free. Segundo, just free. To the freedom. Huh? But we don't know how to be free because it takes discipline, it takes good, it takes doing good. And sometimes that doesn't even work out well. Then we have to deal with the disappointments of life. Right? So anybody have anything here? Anybody? No? Let's keep reading then. We can never totally eradicate the voice. So we're always going to have these voices. We can't totally eradicate them. Some of us have the louder, right? They're louder than others, right? Because really, this can get really, really sticky because it's really spiritual. Because some people really have some voices that are really struggling with. You know, they're labeled they label this as schizophrenia, maybe. That's what they label it with. But it's just a lot of emotions and thoughts that you're having to deal with from the past. And again, I went through all this a few weeks ago about having to deal with these emotions and thoughts and this mental disorder that you have. We have to deal with them. And you either deal with them with medication or with God. That's it. A counselor or a pastor. It's just you have to decide where you want to, and this is where coming to groups like this helps. Coming to church. We can never totally eradicate the voice of failure from within us. It will always be there, urging us to think and feel and act in a way that is contrary to our best interests. See how that works? But we can effectively silence this destructive influence by developing a sound philosophy or mindset and a positive attitude about life and our future. So it has to do with how we see. This is why you have to want it. Then you have to add faith to it and believe it and start believing in something better. And you start developing a new mindset. That's how it works. By the way, I came up with this formula because of everything I've ever read. And no matter where you read it, no matter how many books you read, this is what you call basics. It's just, and then you add commitment and consistency and everything that holds it all up. Because he just mentioned attitude. So, let me read that again. But we can effectively silence this destructive influence by developing a sound philosophy and a positive attitude about life. Developing it. You have to develop it. It's like a muscle, right? I just started working out today. Again. Well, I did. But it's not easy. It's hard. But I gotta keep on doing something, man. We're walking. I'll probably go walking after this. Maybe. Yeah, sure. So I have to learn and develop it. Let's see what else he says. Let's see. He says, creating a new way of thinking is easy to do. Well, good news. This is easy to do, right? Making new and better decisions is easy to do. Developing a new attitude is easy to do. All the worthwhile and rewarding things are easy to do. But the major challenge, the one that could leave us with pennies instead of fortune, and trinkets instead of treasures, is that it is also easy, I like this, not to do. What a philosophy. What a thought. Think about that. It's easy not to. That's pretty easy. When I see this kind of stuff, I started learning at a very in prison. A new way of thinking, a new idea. I used to write this stuff down, and I said, man, I know this. And here's how I started. I wonder if this really works. This I started. I wonder if this stuff really works. And a lot of the stuff that I learned, I probably already forgot. But I just started working on these things that make sense to me. And the things that I kept on hearing over and over. People saying about life change, success, becoming a millionaire. It's the same principles. The principles of life. Listen to this. We must keep a watchful eye on the subtle differences between success and failure, and be ever mindful of the inner urges that would have us repeating costly errors rather than developing new disciplines. How to start new disciplines? We must each make our own conscious decision to reach out for the good life through the refinement of our thoughts and the careful examination of potential consequences of our accumulated errors. Now, I just read that, and you're probably saying, what in the world did you raise? Tell me the truth. Did anybody say that? Or why don't you repeat that? I have no idea what you said. Right? We have a hard time concentrating. Let me read it again. And let me tell you why I'm going to read it again. Because when I would read something like this, something that may want to shut down. Wanted to say, man, but what does this mean? So I had to look up several words in this one sentence or paragraph. So let's read it again. We must each make our own conscious decision. So I'd have to look up conscious. What does that mean? So I'm teaching you how to learn. You stop. If you don't understand a word, it doesn't matter if you read it 4 times. It doesn't matter. 10 times. But if that one word you don't understand what it means, then you have to figure out what that word means. So I would break down sentences in prison with a dictionary. That's why my vocabulary still isn't that great. But you should have heard it 20 years ago. But I was learning, what does conscious mean? So I said, we must each make our own conscious decision to reach out for the good life through the refinement of our thoughts. What does that mean? The refinement of my thoughts. Can you see it was confusing? What does that mean? The refinement of my thoughts. I struggled, Chavaria. I struggled understanding that. Today I know exactly what it means. And the careful examination of the potential consequences of our accumulated errors. The potential consequences. What does potential mean? I think I know what it means. Of the accumulated errors. See, if I slowed down and started understanding this, little rays of hope and revelation. What would you call that? Like the light would go on. Oh? An epiphany. I learned that in a church service the other day. Epiphany. Yeah, that. Epiphany. And we start learning. And I guess all this today that I've been doing, I just want to have a discussion with you, is because, today it's been a long week, a long day. I wasn't sure what I wanted to share with you guys, but I wanted to discuss some things, and this is what came together. Because I kind of figured you wouldn't give me too much insight, too much feedback. Does anybody have anything to say here? As we close. Awesome. Talk to me, brother.
I was reading in Matthew 4, talking about how Jesus was tempted by the devil. He would put these ideas in him. This is when he was fasting.
Oh man, that's good.
And he said to turn the stones into bread. And Jesus rejected that idea. And not only did he reject it, but he quoted scripture, which is, he said, man should not live by bread alone, but out of every word out of the mouth of God. Mm-hmm. And then he also took him to the highest point and said to throw himself. And he said he rejected that, what the devil said, and then he quoted the Bible again, that to not tempt the Lord your God.
Yep.
And then he takes him to the cities, the nations, and he says, if you worship me, then I'll give it to you. And Jesus rejected it again, and he quoted scripture yet again, the Bible, saying that you should only worship the Lord your God. And I was reading the commentary, and he was saying that the commentator pretty much came up with what was called the replacement principle. That it's not enough just to accept truth; you have to reject the lie and accept truth.
Accept truth and reject lie.
Yes. Yep. It's like your diet. You can't just add good food to your bad diet. You got to remove the bad and accept the good food. You can't just add on to the bad that you're doing. You got to remove the bad and receive the good. Replace it, not add on to it.
Are you telling me that?
No.
Just kidding.
But it's an analogy of what's going on in our minds. We got to reject the lies, identify the lies, reject them, and accept the truth.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to add to what you were saying.
Sounds good. So these are the kind of stuff, these are the kind of things that I started learning many, many, many years ago that helped me start shaping my life and how I was able to overcome many of the challenges that I've overcome. I wanted to see some of your challenges. Many of us have struggled with drug addiction, with our own character, with our own flaws, with our own shortcomings. We all, you know what there are, and you have some that you don't know, which is the ones I brought up today, the ones in your mind. There's a lot of things that you're here, you got to this point in your life because of your past. And what you have to figure out, okay, what went wrong? Where did I? And this is where your job is, Jesse, to learn, to figure out what went wrong and start fixing it. This is how you change your life. When we're young, we have to figure out what we want to do. The sooner you figure out what to do, as soon as you figure out what to do with your life, you spend the rest of your life going forward and making it happen. This is how it works. It all works like this. Since when you graduate from high school, when you're growing up, you have to make a decision where you want to go. And sometimes we don't know exactly where we want to go yet, right? But you have to be involved in something to start shaping your thoughts and ideas. And then when you finally make a decision where you want to go, based on the things that you've learned and you have accepted in your life, then you start making the choices and doing the things necessary to get where you want to go. It's exactly how I started in prison. So I'm going to pass around the donation bucket. We have a donation bucket for anybody interested in giving It's not necessary. It's not ¿cómo se dice? Mandatory. But those of you that are online, you can go online to choosethechangefoundation.com and just push on the donate button. But I want to share this with you that we just started going into a juvenile treatment center. This is my third week that I started going into the juvenile treatment center. These are some young men, and I call them young men because that's what they are, between 13 and 17. And I'm trying to reach some youth. You know, that's all we can do. That's how I decided what I wanted to do with my life. Reach as many people as I can to help them, guide them. Because this is what I see in our society today. People are looking, and they're finding it online. But many of them are missing God. And I don't recommend that at all. I think you need God. You need Jesus Christ in your life. And we need to move forward with that. Because otherwise you're going to want to live in a godless society. That's not good. But anyway, I'm going into, so everything, I'm continually raising money to do what I do as effectively as I can to help pay for everything that we do. So I thank everybody for being here. Let me see, am I going to be here next week? Yes, I'll be here next week. And I'm sure we'll go through something good. I don't know what I'm going to share next week. But remember, those of you that are here for the first time, in this room, it's all about change. It's all about changing our lives. It's all about moving forward. It's all about overcoming the obstacles in our life. Because that's it. That's our life. And then you just enjoy as much as you can by doing what you need to do. Fair enough? All right, guys. So that's all I have this evening. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Yeah.